All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Flip the Script. And I'm Dr. J. Joey with my good man, Cameron. And we're just going to rattle off some stuff, some opinions at you, and see what you think. And if you have an opinion on it, well, then don't hesitate to opine because you know where to go to. I hope by now, correct? Chris, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Down, what's your fighting weight now, brother?
5 pounds.
Yes. Are you under 200 yet?
Shoot, no.
Okay.
I'm at 217.
Well,
I want to get down to the 205.
205.
To honor this great state.
Okay, I understand. So, 205, he will survive for eternity. Oh, man. Okay, brother. Well, man, if you're there, like I said, the head got shrunk.
You don't have to wear black anymore.
I saw him earlier today, and you know in Beetlejuice, that little head, when they shrink that head down in the doctor's office,
Yeah.
Bam! Okay, there's a compliment in there somewhere, brother, I promise you. Oh, okay, welcome to another episode of Flip the Script. Did I say that? SCRIP without the T? Okay, there we go. Talking, and I was telling Cameron, I was sitting at my desk the other day, and I grabbed a book off the bookshelf that called Vitamin News. This is little like newsletters, it's what it is. And these things date back, they blew me away because they date back to the 1930s, 1932, 1933, all the way through. So this was something that was distributed up in I guess they call it the Midwest, Wisconsin, Chicago, up in that area there. And it's just amazing what they were printing then as far as nutrition is concerned. Because, I talked about in one podcast we did on anti-aging, I was telling you how a lot of the research and studies that had been done were done in the 20s through the 40s on anti-aging. And then, of course, the money came in with the geriatrics. And so they went from how and why we age to treating the symptoms where all the money was of the aging itself, right? Once the damage occurs instead of preventing. So that's what I loved about this. And I want to go over this because I was telling you about this the other day. And this one was dated, this is in the newsletter, dated August 7th, 1933. So this is not new stuff, this nutrition issue that we're suffering with in our country. And, you can go back about a couple hundred years and you start to see it. But here we go. Now, bear with me on this one because they wrote a little different back then than we do today. So let's go with this one. Commercialism and propaganda in food. Starts off with the most common non-vitamin foods are sugar, white flour, white rice, and macaroni products. These have become common foods. In fact, the average civilized American individual, they constitute about 60 to 90% of total food intake. These have become common foods because of commercial reasons. They can be stored and shipped because of the fact that they are, I like the word, devitalized and devitaminized. They do not furnish the proper food even for insects or germs. And they may be handled commercially with considerable ease and profit. The economic situation here involved has forced foods into general use in the civilized world, which, if continued, will mean the destruction of those who consume them. 1933. Come a long way, baby. A very great number of interlocking organizations connected with the manufacture and distribution of pernicious and unfit food materials has come into existence. They will do everything in their power to continue to sell their goods. August 7th, 1933. Come a long way, right? From there. So they were on to something now, which we are now reaping, all right, what has been sowed since the 1930s, 1920s in food, right? So you took this and you broke it down into a skinny.
Oh, yeah.
And how did you do that? You went on, because,
I used ChatGPT.
Right.
I took a picture of what
Took this basically this
I
paragraph.
took a picture of it and said,
Tell me how they're wording it today. How
I
did
said
they
shorten
word-
this. I said shorten
Shorten
this for
it,
me.
yeah.
Most common non-vitamin foods, sugar, white flour, rice, and macaroni, make up 60 to 90% of the average American diet.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, stop on that.
Okay.
60 to 90%. Think about it. How many kids today, what's the most popular food, would you say, in the child globally?
Jelly beans.
Okay.
Pop Tarts used to be big.
Yeah, good. I did mention food, right? That's a good one. But how about mac and cheese?
Oh yeah.
Is
That's
that not like, is that
universal-
like the universal, the word
That's
I'm
like the
looking for?
picky. That's like the universal picky kid food. That and chicken fingers right there.
Yep.
Mac and cheese.
Good
And I
point.
didn't like mac and cheese growing up. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, because you were like the one.
Yeah.
And I'm not really so sure, but it's just I guess it's probably the texture with the cheese and the melted cheese, and of course the macaroni. But I mean, this is what we have as staple food for so many kids growing up today. And
But it's not homemade pasta and homemade cheese. It's that.
No, of course
it's
it's
that
not.
Velveeta Kraft.
Yes, and the same thing with the white rice they're talking about. Why white rice? I mean, they sell that on Uncle Ben's, and you see it on commercials on television. There is nothing in white rice. It has been devitalized completely, devitaminized, which is what they said here. So go on and finish that one out because I want the part about the insects in the bag in the other one was. What
Okay,
was that?
so 60-90% of the average American diet.
60 to 90% back then.
These foods are popular mainly for commercial reasons. They're easy to store, ship, and profit from because they're devitalized and unfit for living organisms.
A living organism.
Yeah.
So like he mentioned back then, right? Insects won't touch it. So throw your macaroni out of the container you're holding in, leave it on the counter, and see if anything will come along and touch it.
Yeah,
An insect won't touch
when
it.
I was a trainer, before I dropped out of college, and I was a trainer in Cava Heights, it was I left like a banana peel or part of a banana like in my car on this paper plate, and I came back out 4 hours later when I was leaving, ants just everywhere, and I was like, what the heck? And it's because all natural sugar.
And they got the message, right? And there they were in such a short period of time.
Dude, hundreds
The
of
entire colony of them. Do that with some macaroni. And you know what? I mentioned this back years ago. They used to package your macaroni and your pastas in a box, but inside the box they were in a bag. They sealed them, right?
No, it's not even.
They don't
like
even mess with the bag
Just go
anymore,
shake
dude.
it up.
Yes, you know why? Because I mean, the boll weevils won't touch it, so they don't have to worry about a rat getting into it in the warehouse. All right, it's and then we talked about the bacteria that won't touch it either. So they talk about those McDonald's hamburger buns that you can't even get mold to grow
Yeah.
on, and I found the same thing when I bought some wheat bread years back when I went down to the beach. And I made a hamburger with this bread, and I couldn't eat half of it. It made me, I was uncomfortable, man. I had to go to bed, actually, about 8 o'clock at night. And I brought that bread home and threw it back in the back of the shelf. And I don't know, but anyway, way too long later, I found it. And it was just like I purchased it probably 2 years earlier, amazing. So when you can't even get bacteria, so there's nothing alive in it. That's what we talk about.
I'll
So
say this.
if there's nothing in there, how can you get anything out of it, right?
I'll say this. When we bought this storage facility and the previous people hadn't really like taken care of property or whatever, and so they didn't have like anything to deal with rats and stuff. Okay. And so they didn't have rat traps out, whatever, and we did and whatnot, but it took some time for the bait and all that. So I went through a unit and there was like a bag of something that was some sort of food product. I can't remember what the food product was,
I know.
but the rats hadn't eaten that, but they had eaten through the sofa.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck?
Like I said, that's why I said something, because they couldn't identify it either. There's nothing alive.
There's nothing to smell.
And this is why, again, we can go back to, and this is beautiful, because like I said, we're reaping what we're sowing over the period of time. When we look at, I can write in the book Light Your Fire, and we go into the gut health, and we had this podcast on gut health. Can you see why? I mean, because if there's nothing in there, there's no.
Yeah, your gut microbiome is a specific blend of things to like break down. It's like it's got to
have enzymes in it to make something with it, right?
Yeah,
and these are void of all enzymes. So now our stomachs are working overtime. So people ask me sometimes, well, how do we develop these acid reflux problems? to the level we do today? Well, there's no no enzymes in food, so we're overutilizing not only our stomach enzymes but our pancreatic enzymes as well,
Well, just to put it
burning
into
the
like,
pancreas out.
just to put it into like terms for people that don't understand the stomach at all, and I don't even understand it that well, but like think about like there's a story of where a buddy I'm still friends with, his brother as a kid or high school, whatever, he lost a tooth and he put it in a glass of Mountain Dew overnight just to test, and it dissolved the tooth.
Gone.
Okay, so like it's not the same thing, but like think about like something dissolving in a liquid. Like, it's kind of like an analogy of like how your stomach acid breaks down food. So like, if you think about it, you're chewing up food, but you're not breaking it down nearly as much as you think. Like, to actually absorb it all the way down into the bloodstream, that's like the job that your stomach and all this digestive stuff does.
Two points on that.
That's
Good.
a lot of breaking down to get all the way into your bloodstream.
Well,
and
talk
stuff.
about breaking down. I'll give you an example because that's a good point you brought up. In the high schools now, over here in Vestavia, they'll sell these monster drinks.
Oh yeah.
All right. So a patient, child, 16, 17, was having basically what demineralization of the jaw, osteonecrosis, which is what some of these osteoporosis preventing drugs, if you look at the side effect of it, it is osteonecrosis, which can be irreversible, especially if you don't know how to give it the proper product to feed the body to reverse it. So for a lot of people, it's considered irreversible. But anyway, getting back to this, the phosphoric acid that you were just talking about that broke down that tooth,
Mm-hmm.
the consumption, the high-level consumption of this that her parents were unaware of,
Oh, it's just a female?
Yes, female.
Because usually it's guys, you see them down in like 3 of those white monsters a day.
Well, yeah, heads
Yeah.
up, people, because this is what happened. She started losing the jawbone itself started rotting away. Not only was it very, very uncomfortable and was not picked up initially, I think she went to 3 or 4 different dentists before somebody picked up what was going on.
Wow.
And losing the gum line as well and the teeth, and it was very uncomfortable. And this was the result of what she was consuming. Now, I know in high school we didn't have that in my school, but in college you started seeing Coke machines come in, sort of the same thing. Now some of this stuff is on steroids,
Yeah,
but what they do and people consume this, and again, we're talking about that phosphoric acid also offsets the stomach acid. So do you see why we have acid reflux problems in teenagers already now? Okay, and problems with digestion and assimilation at such an early age. So they're basically wasting away in a sense. And it was coming. This food was doing the same thing because of that lack of the enzymes in the 30s, right? Mm-hmm. But now we amped this thing up. It's game on with all the stuffs we're putting in the high fructose corn syrup. But they saw it coming here, and that's what he said. What was that word term again? Finish it out where it said basically what? If continued will mean the destruction of those who consume them?
This trend,
Hello.
if continued, could harm consumers. Many connected organizations will do everything possible to keep selling these unhealthy products.
Many connected. So like I said also, and with that connection, it's not so much like they're out to harm you, but if you get in the way of their production and wealth consumption, you could be collateral damage. Not that they intended to do it, but don't get in the way of their wealth because,
Well, it's like every business does that. Like, what's something we can do to increase profit
Well, of
margins?
course.
Well,
Marketing.
food going bad. It's like, well, if we do this, it's never going to go bad. It's like we just tripled what we're making,
Hey,
guys.
man.
We just tripled our loss.
Yeah.
Like, or divided. It's
The
just
Pop-Tart was an example of that, right? And grown adults eat Pop-Tarts still today.
yeah.
I mean,
Dude, I used
still.
to destroy packs of those. That was like one of the only things
Well,
I ate in high
okay,
school.
all right.
I mean, that's
I
one of the
know.
only things I ate.
Well, surprise.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Dude, I used
yeah.
to crush
yeah.
those.
Yeah, and imagine if you're playing sports, what you could be doing if you were on some steak and eggs, maybe, right? Instead of some cereal and running out
I
there
didn't
with
eat much back
cereal.
then. I mean,
No.
I was on some form of ADHD medicine stimulant is switched throughout the years. But I mean, I woke up and Mom would like try to force me to eat some breakfast, and
Pop-Tart out the road, out the door.
I mean, what else was I gonna eat? I mean, I didn't like eggs. I didn't even. The thing was, I didn't even like. I'd wake up, I didn't want to eat, and like I wasn't hungry.
I know, but
and
Cameron.
then you're taking Adderall.
Cameron,
then
that's
you're
right,
not
taking
eating.
Adderall. We understand
And
now, parents, where the ADD and ADHD comes from? Because when we're treating those conditions, one of the things we're giving, one of the first things that we're trying to get the child to consume is a polyunsaturated fatty acid, right? For the brain food, the DHA, right?
Yeah, I
okay.
pump ton.
Yeah.
I take.
So, but the diabetic child's not getting that anymore. Does it surprise you that they're amped up and wigged out and unable to concentrate? We're not feeding the child. And sadly, I promise you, it's not in the Pop-Tart. Okay.
Unfortunately, 'cause those things.
And it's not in the Fruit Loops.
Dude, you need to go to the cereal aisle.
Sadly, it's not even in that Cocoa Krispies. Damn it!
You need to go look at the cereal aisle and look.
Look how big it is,
No,
dude. It's the largest one in the store.
But you need to look at the flavors they've come out with. So it started off with Frosted Flakes, right? That was like the one for me. I used to love those, right? Now they make like 10 different variants now. They make them with marshmallows. They make chocolate ones. They make cinnamon
Yeah, even
ones.
Tony gave
They
up
make-
on Tony the Tiger. I think he said I had enough.
Dude, they
Either
have
that or
some,
he got too fat and they had to get rid of him.
They have. I took a picture of it because my grandma had bought some once, and it was like the ices at the gas station.
Yeah.
They had icy cereal, icy puffs.
Well, that's the flavoring that we're trying to get out, right? They're trying so hard now to get out with Maha, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to do, and then as far, we got a couple of food colorings out, but I mean, again, come on, where's the rest of it, people? Here you are, you're a year in now,
Yeah.
and daily we should be hearing
And one
something that you're
problem-
doing.
And one problem is like, look at all the high fructose corn syrup they're using, and it's
Oh, yeah.
like, if they did away with that, then you got to deal with what are we going to do with all these farmers, because so many farmers are just farming that corn for that, and it's like the farming industry is kind of propped up on it at this point. And it's
Well,
like,
sadly
good
but
grief.
true. But that's because we consume it. So consume something else, people.
Yeah.
And quit subsidizing that. All right.
Yeah.
Because that is, again, we go back to the podcast we did on fatty liver disease, which is affecting 40% of the adult population and 25% of the children today, and is the number one cause of fatty liver disease, which used to be if you had fatty liver, you were an alcoholic. Well, now the high fructose corn syrup is taken over, right? So again, the number one cause of liver transplant over hepatitis now is high fructose corn syrup, fatty liver disease, right? Everywhere. So, I mean, you got to put the brakes on somewhere because the marketing is doing its job. They're selling you total junk
Well, also, I don't think
and living off of it, people,
I think it's past the point where
but not living.
I think it's past the point of them needing marketing, because they put sugar, like you say, they put sugar in everything.
from the very
like the
beginning.
bread, how you said the
Yeah, the glycemic index of whole wheat is 72.
and you said what was the thing you say about the Mars bars or
Okay, so I write this in what page was that? But anyway, in Light Your Fire, I write about this one so people can understand that in the glycemic index on whole wheat bread is 72, where pure glucose is 100. Got it?
America's favorite. This is
Yeah.
from your book.
America's what?
America's favorite whole wheat bread.
Yeah.
Glycemic index of 71, a number that varies depending on flour used.
Right. So it's 71.
Yeah, you
All right.
said you're better off putting that turkey sandwich between two Mars bars than those slices of whole wheat bread.
Think about it. All right. I remember the first time that Chris, you came to one of my talks that I gave, a presentation, and I mentioned that, and that struck you because he was sitting out in the audience when I was talking about this. And again, to break it down for people, all right, pure glucose is 100, right? So whole wheat bread is at 172. Table sugar is 65 below that. All right. So your food is turned into sugar faster, whole wheat bread, than if you were eating table sugar. Now, the Mars bar, they say, is around 55, right? So like I said, next time you go to the deli, think about that, people, when you're having that turkey sandwich. You're better off putting it between two Mars bars than you are two slices of whole wheat bread. That's what our commercial
Doc
food.
said I could.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, that's
Imagine
so
that at the
funny.
checkout, dude.
That is
Okay, right?
hilarious.
I don't think you want any mayo on that Mars bar, but
That's hilarious.
but that's what draws people's attention. They're like, "What? Wait a minute. Say that again." Right?
What's
There it is. It's in print. Okay.
That's funny.
I learned it, and that's what we're dealing with today. But they hide that from you. See,
Yeah.
that doesn't get explained to you, which is again why we're looking at fatty liver disease. It'll kill you. All right, that's what used to consume alcoholics back in the 70s, but they're blowing it off now. And the old number that was the upper level of the ALT, always liver enzyme, remember it that way, has been brought up from the old standard of 25 to the new level is 40 now, which is 40% of the old,
just keep
right?
bumping
So
it
this
up.
dumbs the doctors down and dumbs you down, and they don't say anything until you get into this catastrophic high number of ALT.
I think we talked about that on the fatty liver disease.
We did. That was
Yeah,
on the
because
Fatty Liver Podcast.
I didn't even know that, and I was like, "What?" Because it's just they did the same thing with
They changed-
testosterone,
Yep.
And I think they're starting to push that back up. I think Kennedy has something to do with that. But my buddy was telling me a story. Like I think it was Wednesday, we were riding to soccer together, and he had a buddy get tested, and it was just super low, and it's like he never would have known. He was just feeling tired.
Yeah,
and
he-
so
he was
went and
unaware
got
of what the
tested,
symptoms
and he's low. And now my buddy's like, "Shoot, should I get tested? I've been feeling
How
tired
old was
lately."
he? How old is he?
I don't know. He's
Not 40.
He's under 40. I think he's getting close to there. I
Okay.
don't know.
Well, there you go, though. I mean, but it's not uncommon to see it even in people, in guys, younger.
But guys
than that,
back in
20s.
Sparta,
But
they were
certainly by
55
40
and
yeah, 55, and they had 100, and I'm sorry, 900, 1,000, not
Right.
100, but 1,000
because they were
and up.
eating steak and working out.
Yeah, and they were slaughtering the prey.
Something about that raises testosterone.
Yeah, and the boys had some gonads. Yeah, and today I don't know. Today too. Soy boys, where
Low T. It's now called. They call it low T now.
it's low T now.
So I'm
right?
watching a podcast.
If you do something that's a little on the feminine side, it's called that's so low T, dude.
So I was So I was watching a podcast.
I'm glad I got out of that. I'm glad I graduated through that age group. But go
I
ahead.
heard
What?
like a 55-year-old woman that has a podcast, and the new thing on social media is they'll basically have a camera facing them, and it's just them reacting to other videos. And I forget this actor's name, but it's Kristen Bell's husband. And Kristen Bell was talking about how she wishes she was more promiscuous before she got married. And the husband's sitting there listening to it, and then this lady pauses it and goes, "That is so low T of the husband, just sitting there listening to that crap. That's ridiculous." And she's 55 using the term low T. It's not just like a
Well,
kid thing.
I
You know
gotta
what I
catch
mean?
up then. Yeah. I gotta catch
Thought
up.
it was so ridiculous. But yeah, I thought it was funny that somebody was saying low T that was not
Well,
hip and
it's
young.
come to mainstream now because it's a real deal.
Yeah, it's a real
It's
deal.
a
Yeah.
real deal. I mean, you're starting to hear it, and this is slang that they're using in the 20s and 30-year-olds, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had no earthly idea back in the 70s and 80s at that particular age. So that's what we evolved to, and we can thank the Food Congress for such.
I
nonsense.
finally watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I haven't actually finished it. I paused it. I was watching The Office. I had nothing to
Man,
do.
that thing's 30 years old.
Yeah,
man.
so dude, they were skipping school, right? And it shows a little clip of them in PE, and all of them are running. Their PE wasn't like you go there and shoot basketball if you want, or you can sit and do homework. It was like everyone's running laps, and the coach was like jogging along. He's like, "Hurry up, let's go!" And I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, you did. You had a track. You went out and you ran the track.
They still
right?
did tests with us when I was in middle school. It was like you did the sit-up test, you did the mile test, you did the push-up
You
test,
ran the
the
60
stretching
yard.
test. Like they said, yeah, and
You
they
did
did
the
all
pull-up
that.
thing. You did.
We
Yeah,
didn't.
you
So we
did.
didn't even do pull-ups. It was push-ups, sit-ups, the mile test, and then seeing how far you could stretch forward. And that
You
was
know,
it.
on a Friday, you might get to play remember old tetherball, or what was it? Where you hit the ball back in the 4 boxes.
Four square.
or
Crab soccer. Or whatever.
Oh yeah. I thought you were saying shooting crabs. Well, anyway, that was that side of the tracks there, Chris. Yeah.
Shooting dice, baby.
Yeah. Friday. Yeah, it's Friday, man. You owe me. Oh Lord, lunch money. Bring it. All right. I was on the other side of the tracks. Those people scared me. You guys scared me. Yeah. No, man. So that's evolution, pal, and it's scary. That's why I was telling you, that movie, that documentary, The Perfect Human Diet. People look it up. It was on Amazon last time I checked it out.
I think that's
It's just great because this guy had no dog in the hunt. I mean, he wasn't pro this, pro that. He just basically had a health condition of the heart, and he went through the process of trying to find out what food got him the healthiest. I love it, right? Mm-hmm. And so again, we're looking at, but what I like about it is they talk about it. They use the analogy of a football field, and they start off at the beginning of man time at this end zone, and they get to this end zone here at the other at the other end. And he said, if you use this analogy, the last 160 years, 200 years are like within the last yard, like the 1 foot from the end zone in our evolution of time. And in that period of time is when the most catastrophic foods have happened to the human body, right? Really wild. And again, how they determine this is really cool because, they basically dug up mummified body parts and said DNA, what were they consuming? It's really wild stuff, but it's good. And it goes right back into hunter-gatherers and eat your meat, people, or some form of protein because we are protein and fat. And not all this carbohydrate and not this rice, macaroni, sugar, and white flour. And we talked about that with the flour. And they talked about that as far back as 1935. I think it was the World League was talking about how cardiovascular disease is white flour disease because you took all the nutrients out of the food. They started it back then. So we're living it big time today, but this has been coming for a while, and they've been telling people it's on the way, and wow, now here it is. Because like we talked about earlier, 80% of all chronic illness is metabolic, which means metabolism, and this is what has come full circle to now. We have the majority of all our healthcare related issues are associated with bad food. All right, type 2 diabetes, obesity, autonomic disorder. We can go on and on. We eat our way into it. We can eat our way out of it. But first, we've got to learn that what they're putting out there for us is not always the best. So use your own brain on that one. That old term I use. People ask me, Doc, what should I eat? If it doesn't have a label on it, it's probably good for you people. Break it down, common sense. Think about that. If it doesn't have a label on it, all right, it might be doable, consumable. All right, dude. That was, got anything else to add on that one? I just kind of threw that out here this morning. I just read this the other day, pulled that off the desk, and thought that was interesting.
All I can think about is a Mars Bars double decker.
With, with organic turkey on it, right? Brother, let me know how that works, because I don't think I can get my mouth around that, to be honest with you. And if I could, I wouldn't tell anybody. All right, so until next time, everyone, remember, stay consciously aware of your awareness, because only you are the only species in this universe that has the capability of doing that. So use it and appreciate it, enjoy it. And until next time, have yourself a great day. So
you're not missing one.
there you go, brother. All right.